Today we're going to talk about how to add a grid to your photograph in Photoshop. So if you're a painter who likes to work from a grid, this is a perfect way to transfer a photograph to canvas using a grid so you can keep your proportions good. I think a grid's good. We're going to go through the process, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple other things here at the end, so stick around. Okay, I'm going to move my Mac so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. And what we're going to do, we're going to start basically with how to add a grid in Photoshop. Now, some of you get started on your paintings and you're frustrated because your proportions aren't quite right, things like that, and yeah, it's a nightmare for all of us really to get proportions from a photograph. I personally think you'd be better off working from a model or on location, things like that. I think it's better for your skills, to build your skills. But if you're working from a photo, this is the way I would do it. Let's get started. So we're in my Mac now, and I'm basically going to open Adobe Bridge. I've got two pictures here, two folders here that I want to share. Let's start with the Tony Rombola of Godsmack picture. Now in this picture here, I don't want to get started. I don't want to actually do anything to the file that I have. I want to make a duplicate of it because I think it'd be better to work from a duplicate just in case you ever want to use the photo for something else. Remember, we're probably going to be cropping to fit canvas size and things like that, so it's just always better to work from a duplicate. So duplicate, and we'll click this one. I'm going to rename it painting. Enter. Let's double click on it to open it up. Alright, so with this particular painting, I think it'd be cool to do keep it in a vertical format. So with your, let's start here. With your crop tool selected, go up here at the top and change it to something that you can use. Now this particular image is actually 12 by 18 inches. So it has been cropped already from the original thing. I photographed this, I want to say it was back in 2010. I could be wrong. I don't know. So this changes to 11 by 14, and now you can see kind of the area that you're working with. I don't want to crop. This is Tony Rombola from Godsmack, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I think this is a pretty good crop here, although I don't like the composition because he's kind of in the middle. I don't have anything in here in the using the rule of thirds. Let me come in here and do it more maybe like that. No, let's crop in a little bit more. This kind of puts Tony in a different way. I think I'm going to go with that right there. I like that. So hit the check mark to commit to it, and there's some things in here that I would clean up. I don't want to make this a video about cleaning things up and making things better in Photoshop. That's not what this video is about. I like what I've done here with this, and I think the overall look of it's pretty good. I'm not going to worry about any kind of adjustments. Most adjustments, I typically work in RAW and then save to JPEG for certain things, and I keep a TIFF file, sometimes a PSD file also if I want to do that. But just below the text tool and the arrow, there's a series of shape tools, and I want you to select the line tool if you don't already have it selected. And for your fill color, I've got this hideous neon green selected. I actually like that when I do my edits or my grids, because it's a color that really just doesn't exist in nature and in my photos or anything like that. So I'm going to continue to use that. Make sure your stroke is turned off so it's white with this little red line through it. And then weight 5 pixels usually works out pretty good for me on 11 by 14 size. Now I'm setting this up for an 11 by 14 size image. So if you have 11 by 14 paper and you want to make it a little bit smaller, I would highly recommend thinking about the image size, not the paper size, or if you're using a canvas, use the canvas size. Alright, so let's get on with this. Next thing you want to do is go up here to View, click on the View in the menu, and New Guide Layout. It's kind of cool that you can use this. Now, when you first open it up, you'll probably have some margins and some other things in here, like under columns you'll have width and gutter and all that. Just leave them blank. They're not going to really help you any. I would like to have this set up so that every inch has a grid, so I can be working by inches versus anything else. So we know it's 11 inches wide, so I'm going to change the number of columns to 11, and we know it's 14 inches high, so I'm going to change the number of rows to 14, and that'll give me a grid that basically puts it in 1-inch squares all the way across the board. And I know what you're thinking, well, there you go, work from that. Yes, you can do that, but I want to take it a step further because I think it's really handy to have this picture available to you with the grid on it other ways. So let's go back to that line tool, make sure you get the line tool selected, and as soon as you start making a line, it's going to create a shape. So I'm going to start up here in the upper left hand corner and draw across. I've got snap set, so it will do that. Now if you do that, you got one shape. Hold the shift key down, and you see that little plus sign come up right there every time I hit shift. If you hold that plus key, it'll continue to add that shape to the layer that it created in your layers panel. And I'm going to stop talking here for just a second so I can do this real quick. Alright, so now I'm going to go back up to the upper left hand corner and I'm going to do the verticals. Just kind of walk yourself across here, just keep clicking on the points. Okay, so what we have here now is a nice grid. It's really ugly. We can go ahead and clear guides, and now you can see that that's on and off, right? Kind of cool, yeah. This is a great way to do it. You can even come back and change your opacity if you want to. That way it's not so annoying, and you can still see through it. In fact, if you use the magnification tool, let's zoom in here at 100%. You can actually see your line going through it. Here's a neat little tip too. If you're like, well, Mike, that's cool, you've got this set at 1-inch squares, and I want to work at I want to work on this square right here between the 5-inch and 6-inch and the 2-inch and 3-inch. I want to see exactly how high Tony's head is above the 3-inch mark. Well, there's a cool tool for that. Right below the crop tool, there's another set of tools. Make sure you click on the ruler tool, and once you click on that, if you drag it down, you can hold the shift key if you want to keep it square. Go to your 3-inch line, and it looks like it's about 1/4 of an inch. The length L1 is 0.291, so that's about 1/4 of an inch. It's a little bit greater than 1/4 of an inch. So if you wanted to really split hairs, not looking at his head here, but if you really want to split hairs, you can actually start the top of his head at 1/4 of an inch above the 3-inch line, or in other words, 2 3/4 inches from the top of the paper or top of the image down. I know I went through this really quick and it showed the grid, but you know, this is a very handy tool because I don't like to print my photos and put a grid on it and then try to work from that. It's kind of irritating to me. So a lot of times I'll do this and then I'll send it over to my phone. Now I'm going to save this real quick. And if it's already saved as a JPEG, it'll have to save it as a TIFF or a PSD because it's got layers. But I would go ahead and do that so you have your shape available to you. Now you can keep a shape if you want to use that shape for, that was bizarre. You can use the shape to put on other 11x14 sizes that you know that you want to do a 1-inch grid on. You can keep that. You can keep it in your, if you're a Creative Cloud user, you can put it in your libraries and all that so that you're not overdoing it every time. This isn't really hard to do, so I don't do that, but you can do that if you wanted to. I'm going to export this as a JPEG that is, hang on a second. It's a JPEG. Never really been happy with this exporter. It just seems to take a minute. I don't remember the save for web being this bad when they had it, but I'm gonna go 1024 in width. That'll make it about 31% different. I'm gonna go ahead and say bicubic sharper. Convert to sRGB, that's fine. And if you need to, you can zoom in so you can see what it looks like. This way, it's almost a 900 kilobyte file. You can see over here, it's set up basically as a 1024 by 1303 JPEG. I'm going to go ahead and click Export All, and it'll put it in the same spot. So I'm going to say Export. It already exists. Yes, I want to replace it. You can change that if you want to, but for my purposes, I'm going to go ahead and replace it because remember, we already have that other file if you really wanted to do some other things with it. I'm going to highlight painting.jpg and I'm going to click. This step is a little different for you if you are on a PC. I don't know how you do it on a PC, but you have all these options to send it. Okay, you can mail it to yourself, you can airdrop it, Twitter, put it out to Twitter, all these things. I don't know why you would do that, but I'm going to airdrop it, and what it's going to do is it's going to look at all the Bluetooth iOS devices that are nearby, and I'm going to click on my phone. I don't know if you heard that or not, but it went, and I'm going to say done. So now I can actually open it up in my phone. So that's really about it for that. Let's do one more. Let me save this. Okay, so we're going to do this one really fast. This one is based on a product shot that I did of wild turkey, rare breed. It's got my camera gear in it. It's actually got this camera in it, which is kind of cool. That's why I set this up here. Okay, so let's get this next one going. We're going to have to do this pretty quick, so we keep this video relatively short. This one, a lot of times I like the still life photos of bottles and things much better than just setting everything up, especially if I've got a glass of whiskey or something. I don't really want to leave it sitting out. A glass of beer, any of those sorts of things. I'd rather capture it with the camera and work on that painting from a photo versus from life. So let's get in here and we'll open Bridge, Adobe Bridge. We'll get rid of the Tony Rombola of Godsmack folder, and let's open the Wild Turkey Still Life folder. Now this is the picture here. Make it full screen there so you can see it. The overall picture, I like it real well. Again, it's got this Voigtlander camera in it. It's got my dad's Zippo lighter, which still works. Kind of cool. It's got his battery and battalion, or his battalion, his artillery unit, and all that kind of stuff on it from when he was in the military. And my old camera bag in the background, which is kind of cool. I like it. It's kind of neat. There we go. All right. So once again, we're going to duplicate this file, and I never ever go to the right place to do the duplicate. I can never see it when I hit edit. I don't know why. It just doesn't really stand out to me. Alright, so you take the copy. Let's just change it to, I'm going to make this Wild Turkey painting. Is that right? Yep. All right. So let's open that in Photoshop, Creative Cloud. And I'm cool with the overall look. I've already done a lot of edits to this. It was a long photo process. There's quite a bit going on in that photo with lighting and whatnot, the background, all these sorts of things. But let's start with a crop. I have a 24 by 36 canvas that I would love to put this on. It's kind of a big painting. It's a big commitment. It's quite expensive, but it's a really cool layout. So let's do that. We're going to go up here on the top and make the width 24. Make the height. It's a 24 by 36. Let's cut those in half because I don't want the image to look bad. So in this case, the original file is just over 19 inches wide, and I don't want to make it bigger. It'll be okay on screen, but I still just don't want to do that. So I'm going to cut it in half and do some math here. So instead of being 36 wide, I'm going to go 18 wide, which is exactly half. And then for the height, instead of 24, I'm going to go 12. All right. And when you know it, it fits perfectly on a 24 by 36 canvas. If you hold down the Shift and the Option key on a Mac, you can actually drag it out a little bit and give yourself a little bit more room if you think that might look better in your painting. You can crop it down if you need to, and it just draws it out from the center. In this case, I kind of like it this way. The glass falls on one of the rule of third points. The second R in the word rare of rare breed falls on a point, so the bottle probably could have been moved over a little bit, but I didn't want it too far from the glass itself. So I actually like this composition. It's a pretty good composition. I'm going to go ahead and say check mark to commit to that crop. And let's go in here real quick and add the grid. So once again, you'll go to View, and we'll go to New Guide Layout. And in this one, because it's going to be such a great big painting, I don't know that I want to go inch by inch by inch all the way across, all the way from top to bottom. So let's go with every 2 inches. So that would be 9 across. And if we're 12 high, that'd be 6 rows. So we've got 9 columns and 6 rows. So essentially, we've got it set up for 2 inches. Remember, I've got this set up as an 12 by 18, which is still a good size canvas too. I may actually do this on a 12 by 18, but it will work again for a larger painting. Now you just have to work at it a little bit different when you're in the square. So let's say you're working on a label. Let's come in here at 100%. If you're working on the label, as you can see, you're going to have to pay attention to how much you get that in there when you're drawing it. I don't know if I'm making any sense as I'm saying this, because in my mind I can think about these different lines. You know, this edge of the bottle here is about halfway between the 8 and 10 mark, so it's about 9 inches. In fact, you can draw another guide out if you need to. That's the 9-inch guide, so we're a little bit beyond 9. We're at about 9 1/8 inches to the edge. I mean, you could leave that there if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. So let's go back to fit screen. Zoom out just a hair, and we'll click on the shape tool, and let's hurry up and get some vertical lines in here, holding down the Shift key. Alright, we're going to do the horizontals, holding down the Shift key. Okay, so now we're going to go up and hit View, and we're going to clear the guides so we can just see our green lines that we put in there. We'll get off that layer so it doesn't have so many white white edges. When you're clicked on the layer, it's actually looking at the line, so it's highlighted everything. But I'm going to work from that. That would actually be quite easy to work from. You could do a drawing of it this size. You can, which I recommend doing a drawing probably first, and then transferring your drawing over to canvas, or you can put the lines directly on the canvas and work from that if you want to. But it's a lot easier to correct your proportions on paper than it is to correct it in the painting itself. So that's that. We're going to go ahead and say save. Maybe. There we go. You can also hit Command S if you want to. And I'm going to keep this here. Yes, Jennifer, I will watch the video later. We'll say OK. And I think I'm going to export this so I can have it available to me on my Mac, or I'm sorry, on my iOS devices like an iPad or an iPhone or any of these sorts of things. So I know I went through all that pretty fast, and it can get overwhelming. If you're not great at Photoshop, it might be a little bit of a challenge. This might be a little bit overkill for you. You can always print you can always print your photo out and put lines on it and work from that if you want to do it. I tend to find this to be a much easier method for me to do it, because I really don't like to work. I don't like to print everything that I do. And yes, I'm going to replace it. And basically that sets it up. It'll bring it up here, and I'm going to, just like in the last one, I'm going to airdrop it to my phone so that I'll have it available to use there. So we'll wait on it. There it is. It's now in my phone. And we'll say done. I probably ought to show you the phone, but I'm using my phone as a timer, so I'm not going to do that. All right. Let me stop the recording here. I'll save that out later. Probably I'll save it now, but I'm not going to. All right, so I hope that was helpful for that. Final thoughts, really quick. I'm planning on moving my publishing day to Saturday at 1 p.m. versus Monday at 1 p.m. So I'm actually doing this video quite late Sunday night because we had a lot going on this weekend. And as the weather gets better, I know I'm going to have more of this happening. And I actually like painting on weekends more than making videos. So videos through the week will be much easier for me to do. And that's really kind of the concept of me publishing on Saturday at 1 versus Monday at 1. It'll actually give me the week to create the video and do my edits and that sort of thing. And I can paint on the weekends if I want to. Paint through the week if I want to. Those sorts of things too. So it'll also enable me maybe to publish more than just one video a week, but that's really the whole idea with publishing. So if you're used to seeing the videos on Mondays, I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and move them to Saturday. I think it might be better. Might be better for all of us. Lastly, I have a lot of friends in the creative environment who they're really good at sharing my stuff. I'm really thankful for them sharing my pages and sharing the things I do, and I like to reciprocate that. I like to go out and share their work and share what they're doing, retweet it, share it on Facebook, like it on Facebook, those sorts of things. I'm going to challenge everybody who's watching this video to go out and share somebody else's work. Not your own, somebody else's. Just go out and help them build their audience a little bit. They're not going to steal from you. I mean, there's enough artwork to go around, I guess. I don't really know how to say that any other way, but we need to, as creatives, I think it's better to get our egos out of the way. And if you've never heard the rising tide floats all the boats phrase, I actually heard it from Chase Jarvis quite a few years ago on a video. If you don't know who Chase Jarvis is, I'll put a link in the description below. But you know, share other people's stuff. Let's lift creativity up into a better environment for all of us. Find your own community of artists, and help each other out. It's better that way. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe, like it, dislike it, whatever. Share it. I would love it shared. I'm trying to grow my channel, and every little bit helps. Right now I'm sitting at 124 subscribers, which I am very, very thankful for. You know, if it never grows anymore and people are actually getting something out of these videos, which I think there's a few of you that are, then I'll continue to make them. If people just kind of drop off and I'm not being watched anymore, I'll probably stop making the videos, but I don't know. They're kind of fun. So this is a long video, so I'm going to go now and go hang out, watch some TV, do some editing, all that sort of thing, all those sorts of things. I want you to have a great week. Hopefully I'll have a new video for you Saturday. See ya.